welcome. Great to have you all here. And yeah, this is especially for photographers I'm connected to in the UK that do weddings. It's been a challenging week for everybody with further restrictions in COVID and pretty much all weddings needing to be postponed until next year now. So they'd cut the number down. Now, I know a lot of our members and people in our Facebook group are wedding photographers. If you're not, this is still 100% relevant, but I wanted to do this today because Stam and I have already, we do weddings as a big part of our business, but quite a while ago, we had started to do some other types of work as well. We do quite a lot of commercial photography. I'm not going to cover that too much today because it's a little bit of a different model, but trying to focus in on what you can do if you're a wedding photographer or another type of domestic photographer. So if you're doing pet photography or families, etc., these are some of the things that tie in quite well with weddings and vice versa. And going to be talking to you about one kind of new bit of the market, which I've got some bookings for this weekend. And when we move to Lisbon, going to be doing more of it because there's quite a big community of them there, but there certainly is in most cities and countries, people that need photography in this space. So I'm going to be chatting to you guys about that as well a little bit later in the presentation. So I've gone for the full slides today so that I could just make sure I could share some really important stuff with you that you can actually use in your business today to try to get some revenue and mindset ready for what's going to definitely be a challenging few months. It's already been a very challenging few months for photographers, but this can help, I think, and it's working for us in our business. So really hope it's helpful for you guys, and thanks for joining me for this short presentation. Yeah, just quickly, for those of you that don't know me, so I'm Liam, and together with Stam, we're the founders of Liam Collard Photography, and help photographers, apart from shooting weddings and making a living from photography, we also help other photographers to master their craft and transform their business, basically so they can do what they really love for a living, which is taking photographs. So that's what inspired this. We have an online membership called the Photographers Collective, which is a community of photographers. Some of them shoot weddings, some are portrait photographers. And inside there, and talking to some other friends in industry, it became quite obvious that this is something that people are really looking at now with the restrictions that are in place for everyone. So let's have a little look about what we can do. So what I'm going to try to do today for today's promise, I want to talk to you about why focusing on what we can't do is causing us to miss possibilities to help people that really do need our skills as photographers. And I'm going to discuss, as I just mentioned before, what we can do today to start opening up those possibilities and what's working for us in our business at the moment. Yes, I'd heard this a lot from friends and colleagues, other photographers this week, and totally understand it. I've had this feeling as well. I'm not immune to it, even though we have been fortunate enough to keep some work ticking over. But I know that this is not serving me. So I've tried to shift perspective by taking some definable actions that have helped us get some small and bigger wins in our business since this all started kicking off. For us in Thailand, no foreigners are allowed into Thailand at the moment, so there hasn't been any wedding possibility for a long time. So perhaps that reality hit us a bit sooner. So I'm just going to share with you how we can work through that. But I've heard so many times this week the global crisis makes it impossible to make a living as a photographer, and it does feel like that if you're a wedding photographer. But I'm here to say tonight to you guys that that is not the case. I think there is still areas that we can look at that can generate revenue for us using the existing assets we've got, or with some very minimal setup work to start showcasing something slightly different using our existing brand. So let's crack on and see how we can actually do that. Yeah, so just this new perspective. I saw this quote earlier this week and I really liked it. Often when you think you're at the end of something, you're at the beginning of something better. It might be hard to think of that at the moment, but I know from my own story, sitting in a good job in London, but one I didn't like 10 years ago now. And I really didn't know what I was going to do next. I knew I wanted to be creative, but I didn't know how to actually get there. I didn't know how to take that step out of a salaried job into being a creative entrepreneur. And that also felt like it was the end of something. And I didn't actually have much hope at the time that I was going to get to where I am today. But I think that feeling of desperation, that I wasn't happy in the job, spurred me into action, and amazing things have happened. I've created with Stam a really incredible business doing what we love, which is, it was beyond my wildest dreams when I first thought about it 10 years ago. And whilst this is a very different situation because there's obvious restrictions in place and things that we can't control with the pandemic, I do think that having a growth mindset to at least look at some of these other areas might surprise some of you what possibilities it brings up. It certainly has for me already. I'll tell you a bit about the shoot I've got planned for Sunday, which is really exciting. Yeah. Okay, so there's many places that we can look in the domestic photography market, and this is one of the key things I wanted to chat to today. Some of those places that we can look at: pet photography. You don't need to be in big groups to do pet photography. You can do them outdoors, and there are so many people that are willing to invest in having some beautiful memories of their pets, especially because we have 2 dogs. We absolutely love our dogs. And we know that their lives are fairly short compared to human life. So trying to have some really special images of them that we have framed on the wall is what inspired Stam. She's actually started a fine art pet photography business in the last few months, since COVID hit, actually, and is getting clients for that. I'll talk to you a bit in a moment about that. But this is such a great market, and unless we're in a situation where we're in full lockdown or there's very, very big restrictions in place like some of us had in March or April, then this is a really good market to focus some attention on. And the skills needed, if you're a portrait photographer, if you're a family photographer or wedding photographer, any of these domestic types of photography, the skill sets are very similar. And the fundamentals are the same of trying to capture the personality of the pet. If you're doing it out on location, finding nice light, nice backdrops, all of these things are the same. Now, I understand that dogs are not for everyone, so you don't have to do this, but it's one really clear space where there's always room for a good product. We all have friends that have dogs that we can build some portfolio with, or even cats or other domestic pets. There are ways for us to really quickly build up a few nice images and start asking people if they're interested, or joining groups where we can potentially connect with people that might be interested. So that's one really important place. Now, personal brand, as a lot of you guys will have noticed from me doing these Facebook Lives and having a online membership called the Photographers Collective, that requires personal brand photography. I need to have photos of myself to use in my profile, to advertise Facebook Lives and free training that I'm doing here, introduce myself to new members, or post pictures in our Facebook group. There's lots of places where I need them. Also on our homepage for the Photographers Collective, I need to let people know who I am. So these are all places that Stam has been able to take photos of me for those purposes. But it got me thinking, there's a huge community of personal brands now. Everyone I know or seem to know these days has some kind of side hustle, very often in the online space. And those people are in every country. They're everywhere. Certainly all of the people that are members of our community in European Union, the UK, Australia, US, all of those places. There is a very, very large, talking millions of people that work in a job or an online space where they are the brand, they are the personal brand of whatever it is, whatever service or coaching that they're doing. Now, those people do already pay for photography, and it's not like the old corporate headshots we had corporate headshot business, which is still a possibility, but maybe it's a little bit more tricky, but the barriers to entry a bit more tricky and takes a bit more time. But those ones, people only update them every few years and only need 1 or 2 photos. Personal brands need new photos on location in their house to use on various different types of landing pages, some with negative space on so they can put text, some for profile pictures. All of that stuff is something that's needed and is in demand now, and there's not actually enough photographers doing it. The reason I know that is because I've started asking people about it just in the last month or so, and I already have some really good clients booked in to do this. And that's from me living on a small island in Thailand where there's only a small expat community. The possibilities, if you're in and around London or Lisbon, where we're moving to, etc., to work in this space is enormous. So saying that there's nowhere to take our skills, I think is a mistake. I think there are places, and these 2 first ones are certainly places we can do it. Now, family photography, perhaps people are a bit more nervous about that because they be around kids and maybe don't want to risk being around people's kids and COVID and the risk of transmission, etc. However, it can be done in a park, it can be done with social distancing, etc. And families are spending quite a bit of time together because of people working at home and stuff like that. So it may well be that if you start reaching out and asking people, there's some real possibilities to do shoots like this that maybe aren't possible when people are doing normal commutes to work. Mum and dad are both working in different places and are tired at the weekend from their commuting. All of these factors that go into not having enough time or energy to book a photographer. It might be possible now if people are at home a little bit more. Not going to be the case for everyone, but certainly some people I think is going to be like that. So we've personally decided to focus on these first 2 because they're already working for us. But family is just an obvious place if you're a wedding photographer, especially, to start focusing some energy. Yeah, so things that you can actually do right now is put together a 1-page portfolio. So you can use your existing URL. Yeah, so you can use your existing URL for your and domain. So for us, it's liamcollard.com. Now, I've not quite finished this yet, but I already had a commercial portrait website, but that's kind of morphed into a creative agency site, which is separate. So I've just switched that website into a personal brand website, and I'm going to be focusing on that so it's clear who I'm speaking to. That is a multi-page website, but that's absolutely not necessary. Just having a 1-page edition that you don't have to have on your website if you're a wedding photographer and you don't want to confuse people. You can just have it as a URL, liamcollard.com/personal brand photography. You could do it like that. Put some photos on there and some details of what it is you do to help people. And then you can start sharing that link with people strategically to start showing that work. You can also use your social media feeds to do that. I think at the moment it's going to be expected that people are going to be diversifying anyway, but that is a very easy way if you're already a photographer to set up something really simple, 1-page landing page, and share some portfolio. Now, I'm sure some of you are out there saying, oh, I don't have any portfolio for personal brand. You can do one for somebody that's not a personal brand even. It could be a boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband, one of your friends that lives locally that's happy to step in and just create a case study of what you can do and what your work looks like. For personal brand shoots, that is absolutely fine. The job is photographing people. If you're going to do the pet stuff, it's the same thing. If you don't have a dog like Stam and I do, you can definitely find a friend that does have one, and you can say, you know, offer the shoot to them for free for allowing you to build your portfolio off the back of it. I've never had anyone say no when we've wanted to try new things and offered a free shoot in return for that thing that we need. So a dog to shoot or a friend to shoot for a portrait portfolio or something like that. So don't look at the limitations, look at the possibilities. If we get this done, this can be done in a day. You can have all of this set up, shoot, edit, get a one-page website up there. And yeah, especially if you've had all your weddings cancelled, then hopefully the time is there to be able to do it. So let's get cracking with it and see if we can all try to make a little bit of revenue over the winter if we're in Europe. So yeah, steps 1 and 2, mini portfolio, set up a one-page website using your current website, then decide on pricing. I'm not going to go into that today, but very simple. If you're not sure how to price it, go and have a look online. Don't try and enter a race to the bottom. Find a good price, consider what it is you would want to put in your offering, and see what other people in that marketplace, either in your country or in a similar type market, are doing, and just test that price once you start getting some inquiries. Okay. And lastly, need to be brave to put ourselves out there. Now, you can tell people in your immediate network. So if you don't have budget at the moment for Facebook ads, for online marketing and advertising resources that you need to pay for, just remember, paying for ads, if you know how to do them properly, is like the hare and the tortoise. Okay, the Facebook ad, the paid advertising way is just going to accelerate you to the results that you want if you know how to set them up properly. But if you do it organically by engaging in groups, sharing with your personal network, and starting to be active in the community, you are still going to get results. It will just be a more gradual pace, but it 100% works. So you don't have to do anything fancy to be able to do that. So yeah, those are the 4 things that I think all of you could start doing now. And this is stuff we're doing in our business as well. And yes, a necessity. You know, we need to also be looking and be flexible, that there needs to be other ways to make revenue. And just remember, we all started, we've been doing weddings for 8 or 9 years now. And we started from this position where we were looking at these kind of ideas going, we don't have any clients or portfolio. So how do we get from 0 to booked clients? So if you're a wedding photographer that's been successful, you already know how to do this because you've done it before. If you haven't, this is the path that we've already followed, and everyone before you's followed, because all of us start from 0 and then build up from there. So just be positive about this, guys, because you can definitely get results from it. So what we're doing now, huge focus for me on personal brands. I'm doing a shoot on Sunday with a Moroccan lady that lives here. She has quite a big presence on her Instagram account. So this is more of a personal brand that's linked to social media, could say influencer, but somebody that's active on social media and needs those kind of images. So it will be a lifestyle and personal brand shoot. I've also got a couple of other people lined up that are small business owners, and they also have an online presence, and they need photos of themselves and environmental photos of them working and doing their trade and their skill. So there's people, like I said, there is literally people everywhere. So I'm talking about a good friend that's a dog trainer, and he's going to be setting up more of an online version of his business. He needs pictures to show him and him with his dogs. I have a friend that makes this amazing jewelry, and she's really keen to get photos that she can use of her working in the workshop, but also portraits of her that show her personality. So definite need for her as well. And then the person on Sunday that I've asked is a influencer on Instagram and needs lifestyle photos to more specifically for social media. So huge amount of opportunity in that market. The other thing is, anyone that's in the online space is less affected. I won't say is not affected, it's a little bit less affected maybe by COVID. So therefore, maybe more in a buying mindset than people that have lost all of their bookings, etc., or work through what's going on at the moment. Second thing is what Stam's doing, and you guys can have a look at stamchana.com, which is just about finished, but she's already got paying clients, and she's wanted to, for a while, create her own brand, which mixed her love of photography and her love of dogs. Now, she decided to create a specialist area where the whole point of her shoot is to create wall art. So it's a really beautiful capture to print to framing up onto the wall process that she takes her clients through. You can see one of the photos on here, which I absolutely love. And this at the moment is working for her. You know, she's only just started it, but she's taken time to build a proper website over the last month or so. She's done shoots with clients or friends that have the kind of dogs that she wants to photograph, and has then set up her new studio. And this is going to transfer perfectly over to Lisbon as well. So she's already making money in Thailand in a very small market, and we'll be moving to Lisbon where there's many, many more expats and English speakers that she'll be able to work with. And whether there's restrictions or not, or big gatherings for weddings happen, she's almost definitely going to be able to focus on this and make revenue for herself over the next few months. So yeah, I really hope that's helpful for you guys. I know it's been a really challenging few months for people, and I think perhaps me included, there was this sense that, oh, it will clear up in a couple of months. So maybe there wasn't such a rush to look at these ways to diversify our portfolio. But now I think there is a need that it looks like it might drag on a little bit. So, you know, what can we do today? And I know all of you guys can get results doing this. So I'm gonna actually, we're gonna expand on this because this is more what you need to do and what's working for us. We are gonna do a hour-long webinar, which we're gonna basically tell people about inside our Facebook group, which is free. So you can join our free Facebook group. The webinar also will be a free piece of training, so you can join that as well. When the date for that is confirmed, we're going to post it inside our Facebook group. And it's going to expand on what we're talking about here, on not just what you need to do, but how exactly, what the process is to be able to get the outcome that we're currently experiencing, which is new revenue from new areas using our existing brand of Liam Collard Photography. So we'll go into more depth in that I just need some time to put that training together. But for those of you that are suffering and struggling at the moment, it will be something that's going to really help you. So just look out for that and come and join us in the Facebook group. There is a link in the Facebook comments, which I'm just going to have a quick look at now. Let's see what's going on. I don't know if any of you... Okay, yes. So yeah, come and join us in the Facebook group, and we will look forward to welcoming you guys in there. That's it from me tonight, and I hope all of you have a fantastic weekend. Goodbye from me. Take care. Bye-bye.